So you've heard a song that you love and you've picked out the melody to it, or maybe you have composed your own melody and you have no chords to match the melody that you have. So you can play, but that's it. What does your left hand do? How do you build a song around the melody? So in this lesson, we're going to be diving into that. And really what this is it's music theory at its finest. We're harmonizing, we're creating chords, but you don't have to look at it like that if you don't want to. What this is it's going to feel a little bit like a magical puzzle that you have some clues for and you get to piece together to create a sound in your song, in your composition that you love. So let's take a look at how we can match piano chords to the melodies. So here we go. I have some sheet music for you for a very simple song that we all know. You Are My Sunshine. And if you don't know it, it's a very simple song and easy to learn. Now the reason that I chose this is because when you're learning songs by ear, it's really great to pick a song that you've most likely heard in your childhood, because that's where you are most likely to absorb musical concepts. So, and you have heard it so many times. So it'll be easier to build from something that you're very familiar with. You can download the sheet music to this lesson so you can have it to accompany if you don't have the melody memorized. And we're gonna build some chords around the melody. So number one, you need to figure out what the key is of the song that you're playing. And the best way to do this is to figure out what your starting note is and what your ending note is, because in most cases, that'll tell you what the key is. So in the case of our example song here, the first note is C, the last note is C. There's no sharps or flats. We are in the key of C. So it stands to reason that our first chord will most likely be the root note. Which brings me to my second point. My second point is that most songs use the same chords, just in a variety of orders. In most cases, the 1, the 4, the 5, and the minor 6 are the chords that are going to be used in songs, especially in popular music. So what you want to do, once you've figured out the key, is determine what those chords would be in that key. C is our 1. Count up 4 from C, you've got our 4, which is F. Count up 5, you've got G. And count up 6, that puts you on the relative minor, you've got A minor. So more than likely, based on the key that you're in, those chords are going to fit somewhere in your song. So when you're trying to figure out what chords are going to fit under the melody, you're going to use those as your first sort of point to guess from. So let's take a look at how this applies to our song. I'm going to play block chords for now, just because it's easiest to demonstrate, but at the end I'll play it, kind of break them up and make it sound pretty for you. But let's start with our 1 chord, the key of C, the C chord, and put that with our melody. So our melody goes from C. Now that sounds fine, and I'm going to keep playing this chord until it doesn't sound good anymore, and then we'll talk about how to change. That's not good anymore. So when things stop being good, you're going to have a chord change. Your ears are awesome. They don't like to hear things that don't sound good, so they're going to help you a lot in this process. So it stopped sounding good. I'm going to take a moment now to examine the melody notes. They're not going to fit in that chord family of C that I was in. Let's take a look at the notes I was playing where things fell apart. It was F and A. So let's find a chord out of the chord family we talked about earlier, the 1, 4, 5, and 6, that uses the notes F and A, which is the F chord. So that's our best guess for what the next chord should be. So let's see how that fits. It sounds awesome. It feels very natural. So let's see how this sounds all together. So we'll start with our C. Another C. Here's where we're trying our F out, and it sounds awesome. So let's find out where the next chord change has to be. So let's see what happens. We've just come off of that happy, and we're going to carry on to the when skies are gray, and we'll see what fits in that left hand. So let's do it from the beginning again. Our C works, still works. F is awesome. Now, if you wanted something kind of modernly jazzy, you could make that work, but it doesn't sound quite right to me in the context of this song. So it tells me that it's time to find another chord. So again, it's solving this mystery and putting the puzzle together to figure out what chord this E fits into. So what we know about the chords in the key that we're in, the 1, 4, 5, and 6, what chord does the E fit into? Well, it fits into the C chord because the C chord has a C, an E, and a G. The other chord it could potentially fit into that has an E is the A minor chord. So we're actually going to play with trying both the C there and the A minor chord, and we're going to decide what sounds best. So here we go from the beginning. We've got our C. Moving to F. Let's try C. Now that sounds awesome. What happens if we play an A minor there? So let's back up to You Make Me Happy. It works, it's dark, and it's a choice. If you wanted to play a minor chord there, you absolutely could. So this is what makes this extra exciting, is you have choices. If you're building the chord that you're playing around the melody note, you can have options. There's a relative minor there that sounded really, really cool. I'm going to go with the C for this lesson, but I'm going to leave that choice up to you. So let's keep going. So let's go from You Make Me Happy. You make me happy when skies are gray. We're on the C. Now we're noticing a pattern. You'll never know, dear. We've been here already. And we know that when we play that F and the A fits so nicely into the F chord that our left hand's going to move to F. So we're building some patterns here, and we're making them work for us. You'll never know, dear, how much It's not going to fit unless you want a seventh sort of interesting sound there. You're going to want to move the chords. So let's take one more guess at what chord would logically contain an E and a C. It's a C chord. It's awesome. It fits. So let's stick with C until it doesn't sound good again. Please don't take my sunshine. That's where things change. So we've got a D now. So we're going to go on a hunt to find a chord that's going to sound good with a D. So what could that be? We've got C doesn't have a D, F doesn't have a D, G, that's the 5 chord in this key, that has a D in it, G, B, D. So let's try a G with it. And it works. And now we're ending, so we're going to end on that root chord of C. So if I play that for you, using those chords that we chose, and I'm going to break up my chords so it sounds a little more musical. This is how I maybe normally play it. Let's see how all of those things sound and put into action. It's cute. It works. So we had no left hand notated here. We had no chord names suggested. This was all up to us to figure out what chords we could fit around the melody. So to recap, figure out the key that you're playing in. Figure out the most common, the most likely chords to fit within that key, which ones are going to sound good. 1, 4, 5, and minor 6. You can write them down beside you, like write the chord names out. The 1 is C, E, G. The 4 is F, A, C. So you can see exactly what you're working with. And then when the chord no longer sounds good, take a look at the melody notes that you're playing and fit in, like a puzzle, the notes of the chords that are your options, and try until you find something that sounds good. So there's guesswork involved. There's a little bit of trial and error. You're going to play some bad chords as you figure this out, but you get quicker at it and better at it the more you do it. So let me know how it goes. I would love to see your comments in the comment section below, and have fun with this. Bye.